Loose. What's going on, boy? Hugs. Welcome in. Monica, thank you for coming in. Welcome in. The ladies are about to take it tonight. I gave them a 5 minute head start, but the ladies will be taking it tonight. How was your day? Beautiful queen, how are you? Thank you so much. The ladies will be taking over the armor chat, the courageous chat. The real one presents it tonight. I will be silent once the ladies get started. Thank you so much. Nah, got my sugar. I will be I will moon, thank you. The ladies will be in charge tonight. As soon as they all get in, I'm going to turn my camera and my mic off and turn the service over into the hands of the juggling money. And my mic is muffled. Thank you so much. My mic is muffled. I'm sorry. Let me see what I can do. That. How does it sound now? Does it sound better? Thank you so much, Moon. Thank you so much. What about now? Okay, Neuro Originals is in the building. Um, I'm assuming Neuro is going to read the I don't know what she's gonna do. I don't want to say what she's gonna do because I don't know what she's gonna do. I don't know how she's gonna run the show, but it's going to be on her. Neuro, when you're ready, you can request to come up. And at that point, I'm going to turn everything over into your hands. If for those of you who were here last week, I appreciate you for returning. Shout out to Monica for becoming the title gifter of everything. I appreciate it so much. The support is real. Poetically 76, thank you for being here. Thank you so much for being here. We are already at 9 people and 546 taps. If y'all don't mind, we have a goal tonight for the taps. So please, let's keep the engagement going. Let's keep the taps going. Let's run this up tonight. We last week we had a discussion. Um, we had a discussion with the fellas talking about how we wear armor in life for the most part. It was, the fellas was talking about why we wear armor. The goal, Neuro Originals want 150K taps tonight. As you all always know, I don't necessarily ask for gifts. I don't ask for gifts. If you give them, it is also appreciated. But if you want to run it up on the taps, that will be so amazing. Obviously, we're here pushing um poetry and healing. For those of you who do not have the book yet, please consider buying the book. Um, and once you do, yeah, you did hear that. Absolutely. I appreciate everybody who's sharing the live out. Let's get it going. I've heard a little about who the panel is, and I am looking forward to this in a major way. Neuro Originals has been facilitating the women's version of it, so everything is going through her. Y'all Glory Rich, how you doing? I appreciate you so much for coming in. Um, and like I said, as soon as juggling comes up, our neuro originals comes up, I'm going to quiet myself, um, and leave it to her. However she's gonna run it, it's gonna be her thing. Neuro originals is here. How are you doing, neuro originals? How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I am alive, and so I'm grateful to the Most High for life. Yeah.
And that's a great answer. How was that snow?
I'm grateful to the Most High for his snow.
Wow.
I
Okay.
am grateful to the Most High for his snow. Thank you so much, Denitra, for being in. Shout out to Monica again. Shout out to Hugs and Harmony. Shout out to Sasha for being in the building. Shout out to Moose. We are looking for a great this. Oh, she got the fire on. Oh my God, this is gonna be bad. This
What
is
is the
going to be.
fire? I am so
This is
confused.
going to be something.
Hi
Is
guys.
is any of your people in here so we can go ahead and bring them up? Hello.
Yes, Simply's in there. I also see Glory. I know Zion said she's gonna be like 10 minutes late,
Okay.
but she's
All
on
right.
the
So anybody that you can bring them up, right? Or you want me to bring them up?
let me see if I can, but
Wait, 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 wait. Take your time. Take your time. Shout out to Lily the Diva for being in the building. If you are not following Lily the Diva, follow Lily the Diva. But shout out to Lily the Diva for being in the building. Shout out to Moon Empress for being in the building. Shout out to Antoine, the designer, them for being in the building. Yah Glory Rich. Shout out to Yah Glory Rich for being in the building.
hi guys, how
All,
are you?
all right, and you. So, all right. I'm going to turn this live over to juggling. I just want to say we got the background in the for the real ones. We'll be in here. The page will be in here shortly. So if you're not following the real ones page, please follow the real ones page. Got a lot of really good content. This content is somewhat of a derivative of that, and we're trying to build that page. But I'm going to leave it. The ladies was patient with us and quiet. I will not be interrupting the conversation. Shout out to Theodora Carter for being here. Um, Juggling, you'll have to welcome them in because I have to be quiet. I have to listen.
That's okay.
You see?
So last week the guys spoke. They spoke about Kinks in Our Armor. That's the topic. They gave the male perspective and they discussed it from the male's point of view. This week, it's week 2. The ladies are going to be doing the same from the women's perspective with our point of view and our lived experiences. Now, during this time, we're only going to be talking. No questions will be answered. So, any questions you do have, you can write those down. And next week, for week 3, when we all come together about men and women, we can discuss our questions then. Any questions in between that's going to be only the panelists. Okay. Now, it will be me and 6 other ladies. As they come in, I will be bringing them up. I did write a piece for Justin. I wrote the latest version of a piece, and we will be sharing that shortly. We also have some other entries from a few of the panelists that we will be sharing as well. We will be answering the exact questions that the men did last week. And we also added a few of our own questions that we wanted to talk about and discuss. And I am very excited about this conversation. I am in red because that's my color. Okay, I was trying to match the hair. I'm trying to give y'all a little something to look at because we're going to be talking and I need y'all to listen. So, my only request is tap it up. We're trying to get to 150 taps. Share it out and please listen. Listen with an open heart and mind. Don't put your feelings in there. Put your feelings on a piece of paper for next week. All we're doing is listening and being supportive of us, okay? That is what I have to say. That's my open. Hey, Lady Dawn, let me grab you while you come. And for the others that are on the panel, if you want to talk real quick, you can go ahead. I'm just bringing the others up because I do see them
Have
coming
to be on
on.
camera.
No, you do not have to be in camera. That is optional.
Okay.
Oh, there she is. Oh, I lost her again. Hold on now. Try and get one more panelist up here. Give us a second. Keep tapping though, because we need them taps. We need the taps. How are you ladies feeling?
Hello, how is everybody?
I'm
Feeling
good.
good. Everybody's looking good.
I know. Y'all should up.
Yes.
I love it. Oh my goodness. Okay, so like I said last week, the guy spoke about the armor, and I did write my own version of that. So I'm going to share that now, and then we're gonna all talk a little bit about what we felt about Justin's original pieces, and then we'll just jump into conversation.
Awesome.
I have one more request. Okay, so give me a second, ladies. I'm pulling it up. Sorry, my computer was open, but then it decided not to be. Okay, so this is my version of the armor. It is titled Armored Up, and this was written by me. So please give me your ears and not your judgment. Okay, our armor doesn't shine like theirs. It shows in how we respond: quick, sharp, defensive. We fight with words instead of weapons, with tone instead of steel. We speak in war, not grace, because grace was never given to us first. This armor, it wasn't a choice. It was set in stone long before we ever learned our names. Because women, we grew up afraid to walk in femininity, afraid to submit to the will of a man. Not because we're rebellious, but because we remember. We saw what submission did to the women before us. They were unhappy, unfulfilled, mouths full of regrets, hands full of chores that never loved them back. They lost themselves in kitchens, cribs, and cried for help that no one heard. So we vowed, not us, not again, not this generation. We abandoned traditional roles because those roles abandoned them. We give very little of our true selves and keep the rest in storage, just in case the door we walk into is another trap. We refuse to be caught off guard, left drowning with 15 kids and no options. So we decided to have fewer kids or none at all. We focus on our careers because the home was never safe. We fought for equality because because respect only seemed to come when we carried the same load. If we don't pay the bills, we don't get a say. That's the rule we were handed. So we pay the bills and we spoke up. And we said no with our chests full. We withheld intimacy because for the first time in history, our bodies finally belong to us. We raised our voices because silence was never protected for our mothers. We said mean things because we were never allowed to say true things. Submission felt like a sentence, not a choice, a punishment, a slow erasure of yourself. Dreams traded for survival, desires swallowed whole. So we ran, we settled, we lied, we pretended, we took the whoopings, we lost our names, lost our identities, because whatever was needed to keep us from breaking, we did it again. We carried shame like a second skin, carried guilt like inheritance, did what we were told out of obedience and out of fear, fear of retaliation, fear of humiliation, fear of disappearing. Society punishes us for every direction. We're expected to carry everything, but still remain soft. Choose your kids or your job, your sanity or your spouse, your dreams or your duty. Pressure so heavy it molds us into stone. Softness? That's a luxury reserved for only the few. So we armor up, decided that if we never expected too much, we can't lose too much. If we don't give everything, nothing precious can be taken. But lately, I've been hearing a different tune. It's faint, strange, unfamiliar, a whisper threading through the cracks of my armor. Being feminine doesn't make you disposable. Submission doesn't steal your voice. A homemaker is not a side character, and softness does not equal servitude. It whispers, you are not less when you choose peace. You are not weak when you choose partnership. You are not unsafe when you choose love, the right love. And yet, as comforting as that sounds, I'm still not sure the world is safe enough for me to even take off my armor. So, until I know for certain, I got it. I don't need help. I'm fine. I'll figure it out. I'll cover me. Armor on, just in case. Poem.
Mm.
I know I didn't rehearse that, y'all, so I'm sorry if I just read it. Don't cry, please don't cry. This is a little side story to this piece. It took me like a whole entire day to write it, just to get the words out. I started and then I had to stop and then I had to start it again. So it took a full 24 hours. Thank you for that. Because it was just so much, you know? It was really so much and it's a lot. And it took me a minute. It took a lot out of me. I had to recharge for real because try to put it all in the paper, y'all. Put it all in the paper. Someone's requesting to come up. Let me see who it is. Oh, there we go. And I think that should be one. No, we're still missing Zion. Oh, thank y'all. Thank y'all. But now that you have heard my piece, and for those who were here last week, Justin's piece was read, but everyone on the panel did receive a copy of Justin's pieces, so you all heard it. Now, to begin the conversation, what was y'all thoughts on both pieces, honestly? Anybody can go first. Lady Dawn, you volunteer, and I see you shaking your head, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Well, first of all, Justin always writes in a way that pulls you into a place, whether you want to go or not.
Mm-hmm.
And the art of Justin's writing is that you are forced to face what is there, and then you have to pull your way out. You have to work your way back out, which is beautiful because it forces us to address what we're feeling. In Justin's piece, I have to say I embrace. It's beautiful, it's amazing, and it's very tender to hear the men speak. On my show when we have the men's lounge, which is all men panel, the motto is something happens when men speak, because men have been silenced for so long in their own ways. So actually hearing men, their true feelings, what they're going through, and them giving language to express it is a help. It also hurts. It also stings sometimes. It can be triggering, but it is helpful if we're listening to it from a healthy space.
Yes.
Listening to understand and not to respond. So that's how I feel like Justin's piece was heavy, but worth it. Worth it. This is where we begin.
Yes.
Nero, listen, you already know. Your piece gave language to what I think every woman can relate to. It gave words and courage to say the things that sometimes we feel but don't want to say, because I believe our concern is being, I want to say, put it this way, emotionally responsible, not to hurt the men in our lives.
Yes.
Um, but that is a risk that we all have to learn how to take now, because not speaking these words is what's kept us boxed in. Not speaking these truths is what creates distance and resentment within us. It's silencing our true feelings is what gives us the most distance in relationships versus having the freedom to speak the truth, even though it may hurt. Truth is not always pretty.
Yes.
On either side. And we
Mm-hmm.
have to have the strength to know that the person's words may hurt, but they are not trying to hurt you personally. It's personal, but it's not anything personally. So many points you put in that piece that are really a reality of what women really go through, what we deal with, what we absorb, and yet we do it with a smile on our face and tears in the shower. And I'll leave it there.
Yes. Yes. Gloria, I saw you nodding while she was talking. Do you want to go next? And she's new here, y'all, so welcome her and love on her.
Hi guys. No, I wasn't nodding in a bad way, or anything negative. It was just basically an agreement with what she was saying. That's something that I actually learned in my marriage coming in. Mr. Call Me First, Mr. Accountability. Because when coming into our relationship, I was always the mature one in past relationships. But when I met someone more accountable than me,
Mm.
okay, so exactly what she said, honoring the fact that someone has to speak their truth, even if it hurts. Had
Yes.
to learn that. I was brand new because I was always the mature one. I was always the one that had my head on. So then I met Mr. Call Me First, Mr. Accountability. Okay. And I thought I was accountable. And I had to pull it up and come up another level. So what she mentioned, that was one of the things that the armor had to come down. And I
Mm.
had to understand that, could what they're saying be true? I don't want to hear it. But could it be true? Could it be true? And this person is my teammate.
Yeah.
So I have to trust what they're saying, even if I feel like I'm getting pruned, cut, something, because they're part of my team. And do they mean me harm or do they mean me good?
Ooh.
So that's what helped me. So that's why I was agreeing, like, ooh, I remember at the beginning.
That is such an important point that you bring up, because when I first read Justin's piece, my brain, there was just one thing lingering in it, and I wrote it down because I want to remember my question word for word. I wrote, why are so many of us sleeping next to someone we love while wearing the same armor we swore that we would not carry? And I was like, why? But we gonna get into that. We gonna get into that. I'm gonna let the ladies continue to tell me how they felt first, and then we can dive into that. Who wants to say how they felt about the other pieces before we continue to the conversations? And thank you, Glory and Lady Dawn, for answering. Anissa, Simply, Zion, or Jay, either of you can go next.
I'll go next. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. As always, Justin, I find you to be a prolific writer. Your pieces have always touched me. And what I'm most proud of, besides knowing you as a brother, um, is that you have made a distinct choice to put words and courageously to put words and your emotions together. And I'm very, very happy that you have made this connection and are able to do this so beautifully. It is very hard, as we have, I think other ladies have also mentioned that, but there's such a huge stigma for men, and they carry this so heavily about connecting their emotions and feelings and being able to verbalize it and being able to bring it forth. Um, there's just unfortunately, that is our society, where we do not raise our young boys and connect them to their emotions and say it's okay to cry and it's okay to express how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I believe that you were raised in the same. However, what makes me very proud is that you have always chosen to go against the grain and do that. And that is never easy. It is never, ever easy to go against the rules and the regulations, all of the boundaries that are created by our culture, by our society, because something within you says this is right.
Mm-hmm.
And that this is right, to follow that this is right, is sometimes the most difficult thing that stands in our way. So I am very proud of you. And yes, your piece is beautiful. And this is what, when I read your work, not just these pieces, but in general, when I read your work, even the book, Courageous Vulnerability, that whole thing just sums up what I said. It just makes
Yeah.
me very proud to know you. And you know how I feel about you. So
Okay. Thank you for sharing. Anissa, I saw that you're muted. You want to go next? If she can hear me, clap your hands. I don't know. She may not. If you're speaking, we're not hearing you. Simply, did you get your chance to speak on how you felt about the pieces while Anissa's coming?
No, I did not.
Yeah, hello, beautiful.
How you doing? Hello, beautiful panel. Yes, I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you for giving me the chance to speak on such art. Uh, when I first heard Just in Peace, I only received, the first part. You remember that juggling, right? And my interpretation of his words was he was sleeping with the enemy. I was like, girl, he's sleeping with the enemy.
Beautiful.
But when juggling sent the rest of the pieces, I embraced it. I embraced it. I embraced his challenge. I see growth in Justin just by him expressing his thoughts and feelings. In all his poems, I see growth. Um, uh, I see him at the end. It was beautiful because I see him moving towards healing his wounds. You know, Yeah, juggling your pieces speaks loudly from within my heart. I express that to you as well. I appreciate the softness that you give, but also being stern and expressing how you are feeling. I don't want to say too much, but I just think that the art that y'all create is worth listening to. And if anyone that is struggling with such a what y'all writing, then I encourage anyone to open their heart
Yes.
and to receive it. So okay, that's all. I'm nervous. I'm
No,
nervous.
don't be. We're good. We're good. We're doing great. Y'all are doing great. Jay, you can go ahead and say what you felt, and then we can go ahead and get started on the questions. I'm excited to talk about the questions. Yes, ma'am.
But I'm able to receive it and not feel triggered by anything. He has a good way of giving me that male perspective in a healthy, constructive way. Because so it kind of starts off like rough, and then you kind of see it soften up and realize it's like an internal battle going on, and then so it's like a little progression throughout the three pieces or whatever. So it's always refreshing to hear it because I go through all the emotions. Certain parts of him remind me of like some of my exes, so I'm seeing him like, ooh, you remind me of this person, and I don't really want that, and but then that helps me even more on my forgiveness journey with certain people, the way that he expresses himself. So it helps me understand you know, like how, but either way, I enjoyed it. I always do. Your piece juggling, I felt seen. I felt heard. It was like you were like digging into my journal. It's things that we can't always say without being labeled as bitter.
Mhm.
It's the truth. And I love the way that you were able to deliver that truth without attacking anybody. It's just simply the truth. And it's okay to feel that and to process that. You know, like there's no shame in any of those feelings because it was all of it was facts. Like I couldn't come against anything that you said. That was really good. I really enjoyed that piece.
Oh, thank you, ladies. Anissa, if when you come back in here, if you're out still, you can just request to come back up and then we'll bring you up. Okay, thank you, ladies, for sharing. Now we're gonna go into Justin's 5 questions and then we're gonna go into our questions. So
I
they're
think
allowed.
Denitra said that. I'm sorry, Jay. I think Denitra said that she had something that she wanted to read,
Okay,
that
we
she
can
had
have her read it
written
at the
to.
end.
Okay.
Thanks for letting me know. We'll have you come up at the end, girlie. Question 1. What does war armor look like for you personally? That's the first question that was asked, and I'm going to read what I wrote. For many women, armor is really about a medal. It's more emotional. For me personally, it is emotional. My armor looks like hyper independence. This is how I protect myself. And I'm going to have it all together. I'm going to do it myself. I'm not going to depend on anybody. And the reason that I have that specific armor is for my peace and my sanity. But most importantly, because I just don't think anybody's going to show up. So I operate in my hyper independence. And that's a part of my armor. So that's what it looks like for me personally. Who wants to share theirs? I'm gonna keep mine brief.
Me, I don't mind going next. I actually
Okay.
wrote it down too. All
Oh.
right. Okay, so my response to that first question, um, I think, and I'm just going based on trying to understand his perception. Okay.
Don't just do the women's perspective because
Oh, okay.
we
Okay.
can't go into his head at all. So
Okay. Okay. I think too, just to be fair, I think with men, a lot of it, a lot of things for them. And I have to feel their part out too to really get a true answer because sometimes I believe that some people are bandwagonists. I don't believe they always really feel the things they feel. I think because sometimes a lot of people pick up, they trauma bond. You can hear a
Yeah.
story, you empathize with it, you carry it with you. But are you really feeling that way? Or you just felt the empathy, you felt that energy from that person and you decided to carry the weight that they were carrying? It's
Right.
not necessarily how you felt. So I think for men, just understanding, and I'm gonna just touch that really fast.
Red
A lot
lightning.
of men, yeah, cause I wrote it down. So I just, okay, a lot of men, the armor looks like pretending nothing hurts. Being a man, they were already taught like, hey, stop crying, don't show the emotions, contain everything as a man because it made them look soft and it was feminine. Okay, it was feminine to cry too much. It was feminine to be soft or tender. Okay, so they weren't allowed to express a lot of things. And I'm not gonna lie to you, that was part of my culture. That's
Yes.
how I grew up. The way punishment was for my brother was not the same for me. There were different things happening, right? And I felt like they had to stay in that mode because if they shut down on their feelings, like it made them look weak to other people. And that's not fair because we all feel things. And if we already start doing that when they're little boys, what do you think we're going to get as men?
Yeah.
Okay, so all their feelings are them learning what they are. Am I really angry or am I frustrated? Am I really sad or am I annoyed? Like really understanding and distinguishing every emotion as it is. So they have to be allowed to express that, even if it looks different, because we're all taught that men shouldn't feel. They're the man. They should be hard. They should be solid. They should all of that. And it shocks me too. I have boys as well. And I have to really realize sometimes that my girls sometimes are tougher than the boys on the outside because we process emotions differently because we're women and we're the emotional ones, right?
Yeah.
So when we see them doing what we're doing, it just looks different. So I have to be fair with that. As you mentioned, for us wearing the armor, sometimes we're like, we have to be strong for so long, but does anybody even notice that
Nope.
we're in pain? Do they notice that we need help?
Nope.
Do they check on the strong people? This
Nope.
is literally something that was happening this week in my life. And I was like, no one calls. No one checks me. This armor looks so solid, the face, a smile, that everyone never checks in. Mind you, I'm in here 45 minutes in worship, out, because no one is checking in on me because the armor is so good. The armor is good. I'm not allowed to express because if I'm too emotional, it shocks people. If I even have tears, if I'm empathizing too much, if I'm too soft, because if I'm too feminine, all your pieces are coming together very well. It can look sad differently. And this is not from my husband personally. I'll be honest with you. He's one of the people that I have to not put on that list, right? It shocks him too, though, sometimes because the armor is that strong. So he then realizes, okay, she's being, a woman, right? This is what's happening with her, and he has to navigate because he gets two versions. He gets the armor. He gets the solid person who just still and doesn't show emotion sometimes because it might not be him, but it might be my friends. It might be my family members, my siblings, and everyone is expecting me to hold it together. So he'll see that version of me as well. So learning the contrast, learning when to peel back the layers, because some people have nothing to do with why you have the armor and they shouldn't get that version of you. They should not. But you should be able to be free enough to speak your piece. Absolutely. No matter what, no matter how it looks like for anyone.
Yeah.
And that's all I got.
You said so much and I love it because you kind of touch on one of my runaway questions that I had in my mind, like what does it look like to soften or loosen your armor before taking it off from a woman's, because in my piece I spoke that not all women take their armors off. Sometimes we keep it on forever because it's never safe enough where we be able to take that off. So what does it look like for us to soften or loosen parts of our armor, and when you were talking, I'm listening like, yep, there you go. When you said you have to just
peel back the layers
peel back the layers.
Peel back the layers. And that's something God had to teach me, to be honest, because like I said, everyone does not deserve the version of you that's fully armored up because there are people coming in genuinely. You have to have discernment, obviously, to know when, but it's all a shedding of the layers. We can't have the walls up to truly get to know someone. Even in your household, you can't be a stranger in your own home. So why have the armor? The armor has to be taken off because then they're secrets.
Listen.
They're unexposed parts. Then you're dealing with something 5 years down the line and you're like, whoa, we were supposed to touch this in year 1, but we're in year 5 because I had the armor on still. You chose to marry someone and be in the house with them. So you got to get the armor off. Why did we get here? We shouldn't be here. We're not fully ready to commit to this thing.
There you go.
We shouldn't be here. If I'm not ready to take this armor off, we shouldn't be here. Now, everything is growth, though. We'll take steps to get there. We'll make a conscientious effort to attempt to do that, but we can't stay stagnant 20 years down the line and you never took the armor off. The man doesn't even know you fully. How? Then you shouldn't have been married because you weren't prepared to be a teammate. You weren't prepared to be a mate and really shed the layers. And it's not all you by yourself. It's healing. It's God. It's deliverance. It's him really pulling back the layers because he meant for you to be whole, not layered up by yourself.
Armored up.
Two becomes one. Then you have an armor and the man is ready and you're not ready to embrace that. And I'm a little different. I'm the anomaly. But you have to be prepared. And I'm not telling you, for me, I jumped in like, oh, let's go. Oh, no. It took every fruit of that spirit to get it right in my marriage and still getting it right every day. Okay?
You almost ended this live saying all that because you just said the finale. Like you should not be here if you're in an armor. And that was my first response to Justin's pieces was, no, there is no armor in my bed. This ain't a war zone. You are not sleeping in an armor. I'm not sleeping in an armor. If we're armored up, we're prepared for war, and we're not each other's enemy. So that's not that. No armor is my requirement. So when you said that, I was like, there you go. That's the key point. You are not ready if you have to be in an armor.
And it
that's
wasn't masculine energy, because I think I read a message there. I'm not really sure. It wasn't masculine energy. It was more like trauma. It was more like being hurt before, family issues.
yes.
It had nothing to do with me being masculine at all, because that never was the reason why I had an armor. It was because I had hurt from the people that were not supposed to hurt you.
Yes.
So with that, I was very cautious. I can't give you too much because
Yep.
I need to make sure. So that's where discernment comes in. That's where you really have to weigh your faith. Am I really going to trust God that he's going to send a suspect in my house? Did I ignore his red flags? Did I pray about it? Did I fast? Did I make sure it was clear before I got here? Because then why do I feel this way in my marriage? Did I miss something? We have to be accountable. Did I miss it? Did I ignore the red flags? What did I do wrong?
Yep.
And that's the part where a lot of people place blame sometimes, because it's easier to blame the guy.
Yeah.
It's easier to blame him. But what did I do? Did God tell me wait 6 more months? But I said, nah, I want that ring, baby.
Yes.
I'm trying to get in that house.
Just
I don't know. Everybody's story might be different, but you know, we do have to, as someone is mentioning right now, guard your heart. You do have to do that. But it all comes with discernment, and it all comes with you really trusting the Holy Spirit and really understanding what it takes, because we can't have all those layers because you're not fully, truly trusting God to be a part of that cord that's in your marriage. If it is, you can't truly release to your partner and God. So you trust none of them.
Mm-hmm.
How? How are we here? He's a part of the covenant. People might be a problem, outsiders, but what happens in your marriage with God, that's where you learn, grow, prune, get delivered, get healed. And we have to allow that. If we withhold, we don't even know the full potential of what we could have had if we released. So we got to take it off. And it's vulnerable. Yes, you got to be transparent. Yes, it's all of it. It's scary, right? But if you go in, and this is something I learned recently, if you go in magnifying something to be a problem, you exalt it, it becomes bigger than what it should be, because this is what oh, this person is going to hurt me, or I can't trust them. Oh no, this becomes bigger than what it's supposed to be. It's magnified. But if you magnify trust, deliverance, healing, I have nothing to worry about. This man is a good man, or a spouse, or whatever you have. If you magnify that and you magnify God, right? It's bigger than anything else you could face. And you won't have the trust issues and the errors and the faults. You know, I'm not going to say you're not going to make mistakes, right? You have to still discern, right? You have to still grow in your marriage to know the things that you have to release. Everything is, you coordinate and you work with God to know the timing on when you should allow certain things to be exposed.
Amen. Thank you for sharing. Woo.
Absolutely.
Lady Donna, are you ready?
You want me to close out the benediction?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just saying. No, that was good. I truth has been spoken. I would say one thing I realized is that when you don't know what it looks like to be unarmed, you won't know how to receive someone else that is unarmed.
Yeah.
So when you're used to seeing people with their armor on, that's how we anticipate it's supposed to be. And so they keep theirs on and we keep ours on. And that becomes the norm, And so I just, in listening to, the things that were being said, it's what is normal? What do we consider normal? What becomes normal? And how do you change your normality? How do you change your perspective? How do you change your view? We
Mm-hmm.
have to learn and unlearn, that there's another option. Some people don't know that they are walking around in armor because this is what they were born into. I say it quite often. A lot of us women were taught by wounded women.
Yes.
Yes, and that's exactly is it mass grant. That's what I'm saying. You can break the norm. But you have to unlearn it. But you don't even know that it's not normal if that's all you ever see. You
Mm-hmm.
have to become exposed. If I have on armor and Nero has on armor and Glory has on armor and Simply has on armor and all of those things, I'm not saying it's me. I'm like, of course it's up to us. We are all adults now.
Yes.
But the reality is, in the real world, whether you're adult or not, some of us are still walking in habits that we have learned. How would you know that something is not the norm or that there's another option if you're never exposed to anything else? You have to be willing to learn something new, which means we have to unlearn the things. We have to go in different environments. We have to expose ourselves to different circles, and we have to be willing to learn from other people. We have to be willing to shed some of the things that we have learned previously. Um, so yes, I agree. We are adults now, but again, as adults, we're all walking around with something that we learned, and it's a piece of our armor that we carry. I say a lot of us as women, again, were taught by women who were wounded, so we're not even carrying our own wounds. We're going into relationships with wounds of our past, wounds, not even our past, our mother's past, our
Yes.
mother's pain, our grandmother's pain. So we're already walking around with armor on.
Mm-hmm.
So in the question being asked about what does that look like for me, what does armor look like for me personally? you know, I had to think about it, and I realized that, and my honest answer is, I don't have war armor. I don't. Um, I show up unarmed. I show up raw, and I show up with no armor, which makes me very vulnerable, which exposes me to a lot of risk and hurt.
Yes.
And but what I do have, if you would say in this sense, is a wall.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
So I'm not physically carrying all of the things that, I don't have a breastplate, I don't have a helmet, I don't have the part, I don't have all those pieces. But what I do have is a wall, you know, and it comes off in the way where I've been told that I'm stoic, which means that I'm hard to read. You
Mm-hmm.
can't tell. You're not sure. And I had to really think about it, and I had to really realize that I'm not meant to be read, and that's the problem. I'm not meant to be read.
Amen.
I'm meant to be learned.
Mm-hmm.
You can read something and take it at face value and miss every point in the
Yes.
book. But when you learn something, you invest in it, you put your interest in it, and you discover it. I realize, like, I'm work, I am work. But I am work that's worth doing. So my armor doesn't show up, like, I will be heard, shake it off, and I don't take that with me into the next relationship, because I don't want someone to hold me accountable. The weight of the accountability that your prior relationship had on you, I don't want. I'm not holding you responsible for that,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
because you were not there, and as Glory said, it would not be fair.
At all.
But again, I do have my walls. I have boundaries. I have some layers that you have to get through. But on the other side of that, like, you good to go, bro. You make it through. Like, you don't even need a key. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got the code. You can change the code. So I think armor looks different for everyone. But again, for me personally, I think that the armor it's honestly, I don't have it because it's too heavy for me to wear.
Yes. Cause who?
For me to keep carrying when Todd in the 5th grade didn't bring me Starburst, but he gave them to Sheila, and we still wounded, some of us, like we don't even look at Starburst the same, and it'd be 49 years old now and you hate everybody named Todd. That's
Literally can't even name my kid that because you mad.
right, right. They got nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it. Todd done moved on and had kids, grandkids, all that. And we
Forgot
still,
about you.
and
My
that's
God.
armor. And I never wanted, that's too heavy, that my life should be suppressed and stuck, or what I call bookmark in a space.
Mm-hmm.
Why should I? So I never wanted to bind myself with that because I don't have the capacity to carry that. Because everyday life brings something else that I have to carry, and I don't need anything. I need all my energy to carry what today is bringing. So again, for me, that's my answer. I don't have armor. I come unarmed and raw, but I do have a wall.
Yes, I have edges, so I have like some little claws that will come out and get you. But that's just a part of the boundaries, That just tells you you're going a little too close or you're doing a little something too crazy, and I'm gonna get you. But we talk about that a little bit more. Zion, Jay, or Simply, do you guys want to answer number one? What does war armor look like for you personally?
Okay. Just for the record, this is what alignment looks like. We are all answering one question, but it is the same answer. You understand what I'm saying? So this is what alignment looks like. I just wanted to throw that out there. Well, anyway, I had wrote war armor for me looks and feels like I'm misunderstood. And honestly, because of that, I keep my shield up. And truthfully, after many heartbreaks, I found it to be easier to be that way. The fear of being emotionally invested to a man that I'm really unequally yoked with can only bring trauma to my heart. And I'm just not interested. I trust God. God said, above all else, guard your heart because everything you do flows from it. Meaning protect your inner self, your thoughts, your desires, because it dictates your life. Truthfully, it's so much easier just to focus on the things that are pure. And the results of it will eventually lead you to an equally yoked marriage. To sum it all up, keep your eyes on God first. That's it. That's all I got.
Point blank. You got it.
That's all y'all getting from
You
that
got it.
one.
That's
That
it.
was good. That was
That's
good.
my 8.
Like you said, we're aligned, baby.
We
Jay or
aligned.
Zion,
Yep.
whichever you want to go next.
I can go next. I don't know if Zion is here. Yeah, we're definitely in alignment because I can relate a little bit to what Simply was saying. Because in my mind, I feel like my armor has shifted over time. Because sometimes people try to place an armor on you because just assumptions. So like for me, I'm not quickly open with everybody. I will sit and watch for a while, and I'll let you assume whatever you want about me. Go to my page, scroll, Google me, and you could take all of it, and you still won't know who I am. You in some rooms they'll tell you I'm a feminist. In other rooms they'll tell you I'm a pick me. Just depending who you ask, based on a little piece they see, they're going to make their assumption. Other rooms I'm a pick me. Or I'm Mel Censor, however you want to put it. So for me, my armor. Similar to Simply, I don't feel like I'm fully armored, but I pick up pieces as needed. So me being selectively open until I can discern who you are, who's in this space, who's in this room, what is the goal of this space, what is the goal of you interacting with me, why are you in my DMs, why do you need my number, what do so I take my time and slow roll into those situations. So I may have a shield up until I have a better idea of who you are and what you want. It looks like being resilient, and it's just in me, because it's not so much you don't want to ask for help, but it's more so if I ask for help and or you offer it and then you don't follow through, I'm forced to still, you know what I mean? Like I still got to get it done. So I'm just naturally resilient. So if you show up or you don't show up, I'm still going to get things done. So that's the other piece of my armor. So then I'm not mad at you. I'm not hurt when you don't show up because in the back of my head, I'm gonna get it done one way or another.
Amen.
And then when life is life in,
Mhm.
right? And I have to put on the full armor, it looks like hypervigilance, right? And
Mhm.
which eventually leads to burnout. And
Yes.
then having to come all the way back around to healing and unlearning and then taking off the armor again in layers. So that's what mine's personally looks like.
Mm. Beautiful. I love that. Zion's on cue. She ready.
I am ready. So, I would like to speak from a clinical perspective throughout this live for
You're
my
a little
personal.
faint. You're a little faint. It
Am I?
sounds like yeah.
Is it better now?
No.
No. Okay. Well, I've got headphones on because there's so much stuff going on around here. Um, are you able to hear me though?
We can hear you. Yeah, you're just a little faint, but you're good.
Okay.
Can y'all hear her fine? Yes.
So I'm saying that I want to come from a clinical perspective, and then all of my personal opinions and stuff I'll just go later and all together in the question, answering the questions. So for all of the questions, I've kind of divided them in parts. I think mostly women have covered it on the panel, but what does emotional armor look like for women?
Oh
Why
wait.
the armor is formed, and the impact of this armor. Um, Love is conditional. When that comes through,
Hold on,
it
Zion.
is.
Someone can't hear you. Simply say she can't hear you.
Is that better?
No, you sound very far away.
Is this better?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. Um, so when love is conditional, when affection comes only when she is agreeable, when she's quiet, when she's resilient, when love is conditional, armor is formed. When vulnerability is punished or ignored, when caretaking is required very early, and a lot of us who are the eldest daughter fall under this category, right? When learning to manage others before being even allowed to think about our needs. Okay. Her body learned before her mind. What does that mean? When trauma happens, our nervous systems, our bodies, they have a very different memory than what our mind is. So our mind may recall things, but it takes a minute. Our bodies and our nervous system realize that much sooner. So this is when the body learns before the mind. So the nervous system is the one that armors long before the language even existed for us. Okay. And safety was inconsistent. I think Jay perhaps mentioned that, or I don't know, someone mentioned that. I think it was Jay, where safety is inconsistent. So the connections were left unpredictable. They were unpredictable. Sometimes it's warm, sometimes it's wounding, sometimes it's very much stronger, and then sometimes it's nothing. So when those connections when the safety is inconsistent, that is why the emotional armor is formed. Impact of the emotional armor: intimacy without being known. So a woman can love deeply, very deeply, but still feel alone beside someone.
Mhm.
There's chronic exhaustion. I think Lady Dawn had mentioned that it is heavy. Carrying all of that stuff is very emotionally heavy.
Mhm.
Then there's resentment and shamefulness. I don't think when anyone has mentioned that. So when she gives and gives and gives, there is a part that is hateful because it becomes hateful in her because she wants her needs met back.
Mhm.
And that anger and that frustration, that resentment comes. And when that comes, it is actually shameful. She feels shame. Like, why do I feel this way? I shouldn't be feeling guilty about serving. I shouldn't be feeling guilty about taking care. I shouldn't be doing that. So that is resentment that feels shameful. Confusion in relationships, partners feel close yet shut out. And delayed grief. Grief is a big component of this, but delayed grief is when pain never disappears for us, for anyone. But in women, when they go through this, when the emotional armor is on, pain waits. I want you guys to realize this is a big one in grief. And then there are the fear of softness. That's one thing where it feels like if I'm soft, I'm in danger. So she is not able to be that vulnerable or feel that soft without having that fear in the back of her mind. Again, that goes back to being very stressful. Now, what is armor not? It is not manipulative. It is not being emotionally unavailable. And it is not a lack of love. Armor is simply adaptation. And that is very, very important to understand. Armor is adaptation. We have learned this. It's subconsciously, it's our nervous systems. This is learned. So it is work, but it is adaptation.
I'm hearing a lot of taps, but that was great, Zion. Thank you for sharing. Blue. Yes, green and blue.
You're welcome. I just want to give a clinical perspective on a lot of these things, because I think that we as women, we just, okay, we got to buck up and go. We got to change. We got to do this. But we need to sit down and think for a minute why we do what we do. Why is it that the way we think is the way we think? And it is not that easy to change up if you don't know why you're doing it. That's another uphill battle. So I want to give the clinical perspective, and I want people to understand what is the biological, the psychological, the neurological components of this.
Thank you. That clinical point of view hit a lot of point of view. I didn't come from the clinical part, but that definitely resonated heavily in my soul, my whole soul. Yes, that was definitely spot on. And did everybody have a chance to answer that question before I move to the second one? Yes, okay. That was so good. Whew. Second question. At what point did love start to feel like a battlefield instead of a safe place? Lord, let me tell you what I wrote. For many women, it shifts the moment we start explaining ourselves more than we are being understood. We brace for reactions instead of leaning into them. We feel inspected instead of being cherished. We cry alone because sharing the hurt feels more like work. We start rehearsing conversations before we have them. Our partner feels like a rival instead of a refuge. For me, love became a battlefield the moment I realized that I was apologizing for feeling the way I was feeling and begging for clarity. I should have been given freely. A woman knows she's in war the moment that her body stops relaxing next to the person she loves. I had to write this down because I know I'd forget something. But that is my short answer. And I'm going to let y'all go next.
I'm gonna go because you pretty much took my answer, so I don't want like that was literally what I was going to say. It's like I felt like I was in a battlefield when I'm like I was expressing myself and not not being overly emotional, just really trying to be mindful of the time, mindful of my delivery, and it's completely dismissed. And you're told things like, "Oh, you still mad about that?" And it's like, "Oh," like, "Oh, okay." So stuff like that. My partner like not being mindful of me, you know, like you're married, like I'm divorced, but you're married and you still feel like you're alone in the world. Like nobody's
Mhm.
like you're not covered. And you're raised to understand a covering and you're married and you're like, what's going on? I'm still super exposed.
Mhm.
So I was battling just everybody. It was free game. But you took my answer, so I'm gonna keep it short.
Thank you. That was good. That was good. Who is next for that question?
I can definitely agree. I've been the married single person. I'm now the happy divorced person. So now I'm in my right lane now. You know, I'm in my right. If I'm gonna be single, then I'm gonna be single. I don't need to be married and single or singly
Mhm.
married. Don't need none of that. But for me, and I had to write my answers down too. And it was basically when loving you started hurting me.
Mm. Ooh.
That is exactly when. When I couldn't breathe, when I felt like I was a hostage,
Yep.
when I no longer felt free, when my heart no longer felt any reciprocation, when I had to explain to you how you should love me, when you came into the relationship with the agenda or even the actions of loving me. So that's my answer in a nutshell.
Ooh, Lord, you touched it. Who is next? That was a good answer. When loving you started hurting me. Ooh, that's the whole thing right there.
I can go next, girl. Dawn, you done laid down on that one. Girl. Child, talk about wow. Okay.
Just celebrate me.
Well,
Okay,
I
thank
put
you.
I wrote love in a battlefield for me. It will be the unmet expectations of the other person. And I simply say that because for so long I had expectations of wanting someone to love like I do. And it took me a long time to understand that it took me a long time to understand that my definition of love is not someone else's definition. Love is a sacrifice. There's many levels to truly understand love. God's word teaches us that it's patient, kind, meekness, love. And in my opinion, the strongest fruit is long suffering. See, love doesn't boast and it's not loud. It's selfless. It's intentional. And to sum it all up, true love thinks of others. That's this what I had to put down for that.
Thank you. Yes, that was good. That was good.
Yeah.
Who is
It's
next?
true. My definition of love is completely different from the someone else. And that's how you get in an unequally yoked relationship. Y'all gotta be on one accord. Two flesh gotta be one. You know what I'm saying? Thinking as the mind, both of our minds is going in the same direction. We gotta be in purpose to be a reflection of God's love. What we doing here? Are we dating for nothing? Or is it a purpose? Okay, I'm done.
You preach the word. What are we doing? What are y'all doing? Go ahead. Who's next? Who answer number two? Do we all get it? Oh, Zion.
If everybody did everyone go for
I
this?
guess so. Glory, did you go? No, she didn't go yet. I
Okay,
think
go
she's
ahead.
doing
Go ahead.
something, but I think she's occupied. I'm not sure. No, you can. Yep, go ahead, Zion.
Okay. Again, it's for women. I'm going to come back to the nervous system. So somebody had mentioned, I believe it was Dawn or simply, vigilance replaces rest. So love becomes a battlefield when we are constantly monitoring whom, his moods, his tones, the timing of his needs, how much emotion is too much. When that sort of vigilance replaces restfulness in a relationship, when safety feels like you can't even exhale.
That is when the typical battlefield, as we're talking about, as we have put it in code, that's what it feels like. Our nervous systems, when they start to feel like they're armed instead of being close, battlefield. When this is a very important thing because this happens more often than not, love requires shrinking. So if it takes up space, then women lose connection. So if she's the one who's taking up space, if she feels like that, they lose the connection because that's not intimacy. If she's just going to be taking up space, when she feels that she has to be shrinking in a relationship, know that she is already in survival mode. That's a survival strategy. Okay. And the biggest thing, when repair doesn't happen, every relationship goes through conflict. Conflict alone does not create battlefields, but unrepaired things, they rupture relationships. So pain from dismissal, pain from just being explained away, being minimized, turned back on her, right? Oh, you're being dramatic. Oh, you're being this. When it's turned back in her face, believe me, it's the nervous system that is learning before the mind can. I am alone in this. When the consistency, this is from our discussion yesterday, when the consistency disappears, right? We don't need you to be consistent in inconsistency, Ms. Glory. I'm taking a quote. But when consistency disappears, that creates a lot of hyper alert attachment. It's a hard mouthful to say. Inconsistency creates hyper alert attachments. What does that look like? Affection comes and goes. Warmth is unpredictable. Reassurance is rationed. It is rationed. That relationship becomes a terrain that she has to navigate extremely carefully. These are what makes love a battlefield. So that is the clinical perspective.
Ooh,
When
child.
safety is missing.
Girl.
Mm. I'm gonna let Glory go before I say nothing. Go ahead, Glory. Bring some glory home.
Bring some glory. So I had something kind of along those lines. It doesn't really apply so much to this particular marriage, right? This marriage, but there was a time when I felt this way, and I wrote it down. From my perspective as a woman, love starts to feel like a battlefield when emotional access disappears. When I can sense that something is wrong, but I'm being shut out. When my strength turns into silence, my protection turns into distance, right? I also like scriptures, so I look for those things to kind of match my feelings because, we are to think on the things above. As my sis said, we need to follow what the word says. That's really our direction. That's the blueprint, right? And it took me to Proverbs 18:1. A man who isolates himself seeks his own desire. He rages against all wise judgment. Okay? That beginning and ending principle showed me love becomes unsafe when isolation replaces communication, when emotional withdrawal doesn't protect the relationship, but it strains it. That was my thing. So I think it kind of matches. That's why it's probably better if I went after Zion, but
I know, right? Listen, I don't know. This morning I woke up and I got 3 songs, and Take Me to the King was one of them. And I hear you saying this, and the lyrics, truth is I'm weak, no strength to fight, it's just popping in my head. And now I see why that song came to me, because listen, oh, glory in the way we keep making mistakes. Let me move on, because we gonna be stuck here if I don't. And I want us to get through these questions. I really do. But this is so good. So good. All right. The next one is 3. Everybody got 2. Make sure before I move on. Yes. We're just going to go across. Just to make it easier, we're going to start with simple and just go on down. Question 3 says, how have unspoken expectations or imaginary stories shaped the way you showed up in your relationships? Ooh.
Oh, wow. Okay. Aim high. That's the first thing, right? Aim high and learn your worth. Unspoken expectations can not only frustrate your partner, but it can also become frustrating to self.
Mm.
I simply say that because if we are unable to communicate, then what's the point? If there's no expectations being spoken on, then we can't create a relationship that both parties are desiring.
Exactly.
How will we ever grow and develop this relationship in a healthy way? When approaching a new relationship, if there's history on this on if there's histories on this repeated behavior regarding unspoken expectation or imaginary stories, you will expect that your expectations will not be met. Your actions and thoughts on this new relationship will be altered. Aim high. Understand who you are. Don't be afraid to be unshielded for the right person. Because remember, love is a sacrifice. I don't assume or fantasize in secret. You are going to get an uncut version of a you're going to get an uncut raw version of a woman of God. That's all I got.
All right, Demetri,
Yes, go ahead.
read the question again. I'm sorry. I gotta. And you're on mute.
How have unspoken expectations or imaginary stories shape the way you show up in your relationships?
Oh, horribly. It shapes them horribly. It is a recipe for disaster. You are signing up for disappointment when you have unrealistic stories that you've already created. Sometimes we go on this first date, and by the time you're on your way home, you've already got the venue you're thinking about. You already got your dress, who you gonna ask, because he is just it. He's the one. We have already created our whole lives, and all you have done is spent 3 hours with this person that you did not ever know before a day in your life. And we are setting ourselves up for a horrific relationship, because it is not fair for a person for you to, instead of you getting to know, okay, I'm trying to behave. It does not build a bear, and it does not build our perfect man or mate. We have to go into these things, these situations, these relationships with open minds. It's okay to have a desire. It is absolutely necessary to have your standard and your requirements, but you also have to leave room to get to know the person for who they are. They are not showing you every single thing. You don't know, you only know as much as you know in that moment. You haven't experienced everything with them yet, so you don't know how they're going to show up in a situation yet. But yet we expect 1000% of them on the first date.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have already drew a picture of what I want, not what we want, but what I want. So when we have these unspoken expectations, we cannot turn around and have an attitude with a person when they don't meet them. I don't know that you need me to rise to this occasion in this way if you have not expressed to me what your need is. And a lot of times we as women, we are comparing what our need is, our situation is, based on what my sis, because when my girl was dating her man, we paint our pictures off of what other people have done and our people around us. And that is not fair. You are not ever going to get the best out of the person that you're with, because you will never learn the beauty of who they are. And often we shortchange ourselves because we don't leave room for them to show up in their authentic self, because they are so busy just trying to climb this mountain and beat this, enemy in our lives and be this hero. I don't want you to be a hero. I want you to show up as you. Show me the hero that you are. I don't need saving. I need partnership. I don't need saving. I need teamwork. Can you be my teammate? And I have to express that to you up front. Because in you being my teammate and you being my partner, you are going to show up. You are going to become my hero. Because we are going to be able to tackle things together. We'll be able to make our goals together. We'll be able to build our kingdom together. But I have to leave you room to show up authentically. So I think we do ourselves a great injustice when we bank on unexpected, unspoken expectations and prefabricated stories that we want in our mind. And it's okay to have it, but let the person know so that they can figure out how we can build this together. I'll leave it there.
Good. That was so good. Jay, you can go ahead, and then Zion, and then Gloria, I'll let you go after Zion, and then me, since you want.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, ma'am. It says, how have unspoken experiences or imaginary stories shaped the way you show up in your relationships?
In the past, I learned pretty early on to not envy others, because I realized people just share highlights for the most part, right? So I didn't struggle so much with that imaginary thing based on seeing other people like, oh, they had a beautiful wedding, they have a beautiful marriage, I want what they want. But for me, it was more so is in watching the individual. So I'm watching you show up in church. I'm watching how you show up for your family. I watch how you show up for work. I see you're a provider, etc. So in my brain, that translated to those things coming into you being a good partner. So I learned not to, like assume like, oh, you're nice to people, you're nice to them, you show up for them, but it doesn't mean that I can't take that in my brain and make that be like, you're gonna be a good partner, a husband, a boyfriend because of how you are with other people. Because you could be a good friend, a good, whatever, but not be a good person when it comes to marriage, when it comes to being in a relationship. So that's where I fell short, because I just assumed if you were showing up, in this way and all these other areas, that it was going to transfer over into this. So when that didn't happen, like Lady Dawn was saying, it was like a setup, to just fall flat on my face. I was completely just caught off guard because I couldn't process why it just wasn't, moving over. So I just learned I learned that the hard way. So like for me, I just learned to experience you with me one-on-one, not solely based on your other friendships. I need to see you, how you interact with me, how you show up for me in our situation. That was it.
Zion, you can go ahead.
Okay, so a little bit of addition to what the lady said so far. Maybe a different point of view. So expectations are carried silently, and there's a reason why we do that. Many women don't come out and say, hey, I need reassurance. I need you to notice me. I need repair after conflict. Instead, we think that if he loves me, he will know this. He will automatically somehow be a mind reader and know this. right? So why is that? This happens because somewhere along the line, we have learned that needing feels dangerous. Asking feels like a risk. So expectations stay unspoken and they are turned into, yes, we do this, into quiet tests for men. Okay? This does happen. Love becomes anticipatory. This means that when a woman is living ahead of the relationship, so she begins to imagine how he will show up. She's holding on to moments that has occurred as evidence of who he could be in the future, right? She's enduring the present pain in the loyalty with him for a future version of him. And this is not delusion. This is attachment trying to protect hope. This is what it looks like when attachment is trying to protect hope. Emotional labor that replaces clarity. That means that rather than asking directly, I need this, or this is what happened, and this is how I felt, what she's doing is these. She's adjusting her tone. She waits for the right moment. She manages her disappointment internally, right? She explains his behavior to herself. She provides a rationale. The relationship becomes something that she carries then. It is not something, it is not a bond that carries her. Okay. Now, how does this imagination fills, how does the imagination fill the gaps? The imagined relationship becomes safer than the real one. Okay. In her mind, he understands her. In her mind, he's going to eventually soften. In her mind, he is going to choose her fully. So in reality, what that looks like is she waits, she's going to adapt, and she's going to settle, very much settle for the minimal presence or the partial presence of the man. The imagination holds what the relationship cannot. And fantasy becomes emotional oxygen. And our minds do this. This is how we survive a lot of things. Fantasy becomes emotional oxygen. So when emotional needs are not met consistently, guess what? Imagination steps in. And this is not an escape. It is called self-soothing. And this is how we survive. So she's not lying to herself. She is surviving in a lack of reciprocity, if I pronounce that word correctly. Disappointment turns inward. So instead of saying, this hurt me because it isn't enough, she's going to turn it on herself. Like, maybe I'm asking for too much. Okay. Unspoken expectations don't disappear. They usually turn into shame. Impact of this, I think that all of you probably know. And if you don't, shame on you, because you've stayed in my psychological lives enough now to know the impact of this over time. So there's resentment that comes in, there's confusion that replaces trust. And she is going to start to mourn something. And that something is something that never fully existed. Mourning something that was never fully existed for her. And that is one of the deepest pain for a woman to name. Grieving the relationship they kept hoping for into existence. This is a very deep pain, and this too is grief. So this is what happens. I wanted to give a different perspective on why that when that imagination happens, or why we shy away when we are supposed to speak. Why do we do that? I hope that helps.
Yay.
I'm gonna
That
let
was a
I'm
that
gonna
was
let that sit a little. Just marinate. That was a lot. Go ahead, Gloria. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. Mine is actually very short, so I feel, you know, a little different now. How has unspoken expectation and imaginary stories shaped the way that it showed out in relationships? For me in the past, um, I learned that a lot of people carry silent expectations. 100%. You cannot marry expectation. This is my perspective. You cannot marry imagination. Everyone is allowed to speak their mind too. I think sometimes I had to choose whether the very expectations I'm having for someone, can I fulfill the list that I have? Can I fulfill the list that I expect someone to fulfill for me? If I go down the list, do I match up to the list that I even wrote for someone else? So can we over analyze or over expect from someone else sometimes? And I had to scrap that list because as you guys heard last week, I was done with the odd mandem. Okay. I had a list. Okay. The expectation was I'm out. Right. And if I stuck to that, I would have missed my blessing with having unrealistic expectations. So I feel like a lot of women, for me as a woman, I learned that the silent expectations, the things that we never speak about, um, can't have those for me. And I understand the neurological things and the psychological things and the emotional things. Maybe because I learned a lesson that God taught me. Ladies, I don't know if this might be everyone's situation, but the whole thing that I mentioned about magnifying a thing, for me, I had to, as he said, think on these things above, right? Then he turns around and tell you, watch what you think about. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not unto your own understanding. In all thy ways, acknowledge him and he will direct your path. So I had to live that for real because I made the poor choices and guys. I made where I had the list. I had how about this? I got one for you. I got a guy with everything on the list and he cheated. He had the list, right? But the one thing he faulted on was loyalty, right? Because in my face and around everyone else, perfection. Out of sight. The list was good though. He hit. He probably had one off from the 10. And that was my engagement before I got married here. Right. And I had to realize that I had to scrap that list. I had to get rid of that list and I had to allow God to renew my mind. And that's really what it was for me. I had to even think that some of the thinking I had was thinking, and had him retrain my mind and reset my identity. I'm literally writing a book about this because I had to live the scripture entirely. I couldn't pick out the pieces that I wanted. I had to let him teach me, how to be the woman because I knew I desired marriage. So I needed him to train me. I needed him to teach me, right? Long and short of the story, it goes with the scripture, Amos 3:3. Can two walk together unless they agree, right? As simply mentioned, you have to agree, right? So even with the expectations and the imaginary stories, how do you go into anything further if you guys don't agree from the beginning? Now, we're not talking about perfection, but just the basic things, the basics, the foundational things. I feel like that's a fair way to go in. And what did I put? We can't agree on concern. Unspoken expectation quietly create resentment and confusion. That's what happened in my life. It created confusion and resentment and it caused issues because I wasn't matching up to the list that I had, all the things that I needed the guy to come with or all the things I thought he needed to have, because sometimes you have things that you heard other people say are good, but is this what you really need though? Because you've been through so many different relationships now. Do you still need what you wanted the last relationship? you're gonna be a healed version or a destroyed version of yourself. So now the list changes because now you need someone more gentle with you. You need someone more mindful of you. You don't know the trauma that happened from the past one. So is the list the same? So I realized that list, yeah, I had to scrap one, have the foundational things and move towards it. So for me, I had to get rid of that because it created resentment and it created confusion in my life.
Whew. Listen, I'm here listening to y'all try not to say pineapple so bad. But I'm pretty sure there's a pineapple. From Zion was talking, there was a pineapple that slipped because, who Lord. And I'm happy that I wrote my answers down because had I not, I don't remember. I don't even think I could have answered these questions. My brain's just, psh. But let me get to it. I wrote, women carry a whole novel in silence. Sometimes we build the fantasy of a partner who can read our minds, the hope they'll heal what they never wounded, the belief we should settle because it could be worse, the idea that loving harder will fix what communication never addressed, the fear that asking for more makes us ungrateful or too much. We create expectations we never verbalize. Then we resent the person for failing the test they never knew they were taking. And I wrote a little confession, and this is in the past. Sometimes I would expect a man to show up in ways that I never articulated, simply because I was afraid that asking made me look needy or worse, getting disappointed. So I fantasize, and then I create these stories in my mind and keep it pushing because it was easier that way. But yeah, this question was a deep one for me to like really sit with because it just dagged at my armor. Should I say my boundaries? Pop. You got your cup? I got pop. Oh, you got your pop? Yeah. Okay. That's my little diva, y'all. Okay, so we're gonna move on to question 4. What would taking off the armor look like for you in real life?
Oh Lord, why I gotta be first all
I
the
mean,
time?
I can go first since I'm already talking if you want
Yes,
to.
please.
Okay. Since I'm already yapping. Taking off the armor isn't soft, it's brave. For women, vulnerability looks like saying, I need help without a prepared apology. Lord, I'm still working on that one. Resting instead of earning the right to rest. Communicating before you're overwhelmed. Trusting a man to hold what you've never let anyone see. Allowing someone to love you without interrogation. Giving without overgiving. Being present without overperforming. And for me, taking off the armor looks like letting someone love me without making them audition for the role that they never knew they were auditioning for. And letting my body unclench in their presence.
Ooh,
Wow.
that's good. That's dope.
I'm telling y'all, if I
Girl.
didn't write these down now.
All right. Taking off my armor looks like rest for me. And if I was to stop protecting myself, as the author had mentioned, just for a little, that will only means that I'm considering it. Truth be told, some actions have to be made on your behalf. To represent vulnerability, for me, looks like emotional expression. The conversation will be from one heart to another without even saying a word. It's deeper than the words that come out your mouth. It's alignment, it's purpose, it's truth.
Mm.
We are here to be a reflection of God's love. If not, then what are we doing? So that will be rest for me. That's all I got.
Okay, now.
All right. Well, for me, I had to think about this because, like I said earlier, I I don't have any armor, but I do remember when I did. And so for me, taking off my armor looks like grace, giving myself grace, which was something that I was not doing. Let me put my glasses on so I can see. How about that's what taking off my armor looks like. Putting on my glasses. All right. Taking off my armor also looks like allowing myself to be human. It looks like me releasing myself from the expectation of perfection, allowing myself the freedom and the authority to say no, allowing myself to feel and be okay with what I'm feeling. Taking off my armor, this was a big one for me, was learning how to let people love me and accept being loved. Because letting someone love me was painful. So I was guarded because I felt like love came with an expiration date or a list of regulations, and you would love me until. And the minute I didn't do, or I didn't perform, or I didn't show up, then your love is altered. Then you no longer love me in the depth or capacity that you would or were. So for me, it's learning. It was learning. The heaviest is learning to let myself be loved and embracing that and allowing it and feeling it. Not just a thank you, but actually feel like sitting in it. And that's what it looks like for me.
That was good. That was good. Thank you for sharing. Go ahead, Glory.
Okay, so mine, I put taking off the armor for me from where I stand. It looks like letting you see me when I'm tired, when I'm not strong. It looks like honesty without shame. It looks like trusting with the vulnerability and knowing that it won't cost respect, right? I have scriptures attached. Ecclesiastes 4:9. Two are better than one, for if one falls, another is there to lift up his companion, right? So if I'm able to be armorless, you are there for me, picking me up when I'm weak. You're there to make me strong. You're there with me, allowing me to be vulnerable without you losing respect for me, for it not being a place where I now have to decide whether to be vulnerable or to be transparent. I also had 2 Corinthians 12:9. Of course, my strength is made perfect in your weakness, just allowing the essence of that scripture to really flow. Where for me, the armor was mainly strength. It was mainly because I wanted to stay strong. I didn't want to be weak. It was mainly because I had to put this up, in front of family. So now that's a majority of my life before I'm married. So now I have to be in a position where you see a armorless person. You see me when I'm weak. You see me when I have to take off all the layers and pull everything down. The principle for me behind that is partnership requires access. Strength is not diminished by honesty. It is refined by it. And that was my answer.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Thank you. Zion, ma'am, you are up.
Wait, I don't think I
Oh,
went.
wait, Jay. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
she wants to go last. For me, taking off the armor, it felt really raw, just really raw. Like raw. It's lighter, but it's just like super exposed. So it was definitely scary, but at the same time exhilarating because you're able to feel things deeper, and there's like a duality to it because the armor protected me from supposedly not getting hurt, but at the same time it kept me from deeper connections. It kept me from truly feeling love. from God, from people, etc. So I'm able to have deeper connections. I'm able to be more authentic. I'm able to have more grace for people, realizing that they're disarming themselves too. So now I'm more patient with them because we're on a similar journey. Um, I'm way less reactive. I'm more so seek understanding. Like anybody who know me know I'm a fighter. I'm from Jersey. I'm Haitian. People like be scared of me. I live in North Carolina. When I go to my kids' school, they just know, oh God, mom's here. What's going on? But I've worked really, really hard to address my blind spots. And like I said, I'm way less reactive. And I definitely seek understanding first. I'm less performative. I'm more confident in myself. I'm able to receive compliments more about myself because people say, "Oh, you look pretty. Oh, you're so smart." No, girl, you're pretty. Look at your outfit. Look at your hair. But now I'm able to say, "Thank you," and then zip my lips real fast and just receive it and process it and move forward. So that's what it looks like for me.
I love that. I love that. Listen, you coming through with them shouts. I love it. Keep going. Keep going. Go ahead, Zion.
Okay, so what does that look like? Taking off the armor. First thing, it's not a big dramatic reveal. It's not like a confession of like a breakdown, or suddenly she's just being open. It's very quiet, and it's done in increments, because that is where safety is. We have to first see if it's safe enough. So first, we dip the toe into the pool water, and then slowly we submerge ourselves. So her body's going to soften before her words do. This is a very key point for the gentleman to remember, that her body is going to soften. Again, it's with the nervous systems. When our nervous systems realize that this is a safe person, this is a safe environment, our bodies are going to relax much before our minds and our words do. She is going to, this is, I think, a combination of what everyone has said so far. But what's interesting to me is we all have our individual perspectives, and they all land on my page and my whatever I've prepared for the live psychologically. So I'm just summarizing everything. But she names a need without apologizing. So she will not be like, oh, this might be silly, but or this is so stupid, but she's going to come out and very straightforward say, I need reassurance right now. I need safety right now. There's no over explanation. There's no self assurance, nothing like that. We're just coming straight forward and saying things. And please know that this is one of the bravest form of disarmament. I think it was Jay that said that they're going to stop performing strength. So she's going to allow herself to be tired. She is going to be okay with that, because she doesn't have to be strong all the time. She's going to let her body relax. This is so huge for a lot of us who are in this on this wheel of just performing all the time. We're strong, and we carry everything. She risks being disappointed in real time. So instead of enduring silence and grieving alone later, she speaks while it matters. That is very important. She lets someone see the unedited version of her. So she's not showing you the healed story or the insightful summary. No, she's going to let you see her, the trembling, the mess, the unfinished parts of her. This is what safety looks like. This is what unarmoring looks like. She stops protecting others from her pain. So she's no longer going to translate. She's no longer going to soften her opinions. She's no longer going to package her hurt very nicely, just so it's okay for others to accept. And not trying to be rude. She's not trying to be cruel. She's just becoming clear. She notices when her armor wants to come back on. So taking off the armor doesn't mean that it disappears. She feels the impulse when she feels the impulse to shut down, to get sharp, maybe to withdraw a little bit, instead of judging it, she names it. She's able to name it. And that awareness, that's huge. She allows herself to receive. This is often the hardest part. The
Mhm.
hardest part. Allowing herself to receive care. She doesn't deflect compliments and doesn't immediately reciprocate, right? She's allowing herself to receive without earning.
Mhm.
That's a big thing. And she trusts her body. She is able to decipher, she is able to trust her body that this is disarmament.
Mhm.
And that is not open to everybody.
Nope.
But she realizes, okay, my body feels this way, so I don't need to armor up here. She listens to that nervous system. Armor off is not oversharing. It is not emotional flooding. It is not forcing vulnerability. It is not staying in an unsafe place. Armor comes off when safety is consistent. And I think that this is the bottom line throughout this talk. When safety is consistent and not promised, that's when the armor comes off.
You heard that? When safety is consistent, the armor comes off, but that don't mean it's gone. Okay, that don't mean it's gone. I'm gonna just leave that there. But Zion, that was great. That was an amazing summary. I absolutely love it. Can y'all believe we're at question 5? We're doing great. Y'all are doing great. Y'all are keeping it together. We're on point. We're on schedule. I'm so proud of y'all. And y'all are attentive in the chat. I love it. I love it. Now, for the last question from Justin's list, it says, how do you distinguish between a real threat and a fear shaped by past wounds? Lord, he had to end it with that one. He just had to end it with that one. Listen, I literally put that in my words,
Girl,
like
I'm exhausted.
exhale, like below.
All right, you want me to go first?
Go ahead, because I had to breathe just reading that.
Oh,
Lord.
Lord. Okay. For me, it's discernment. Yeah. I'm constantly examining your fruits, your body, your language, your body language, the tone on how you express yourself. Any wounds that have been created in my past, I have healed from it. And if you compare your new relationship based on your past, then your wounds are still bleeding. Don't bleed on people who didn't cut you.
Right.
What determines whether they are a threat or if it's just the fear of your old wounds?
Mhm.
Think about it this way. If you think you know the experience before you experience it, then your mind is made up. You have still yet to heal. Remember, love is a sacrifice. That's it. Take that armor off.
Hey, go ahead,
Take that
lady.
armor down, baby.
Down,
If
baby.
you if you know if you think you know the experience before you even experienced it, then your mind is made up. You'll stay in that cycle the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Don't bleed on who don't cut you now. You better go
You'll
patch
you'll
that
you'll
up.
miss you'll miss your blessing. You can't do that.
Amen. Agreed. Oh, my tummy. You ate too much. Go ahead, Lady Dawn.
Um, okay. Well, the things that came to mind is first of all, you can't exist in a state of paranoia, because when you do, you will forever be carrying around the things of the past, blaming people for stuff that hasn't even happened yet. You go into something already defensive, already fighting, already argue, already combative, and you are already setting yourself up for failure because you're looking for something to happen that is not even present. So for me, it is really embracing the reality of where you are right now, being present in the moment that you are literally in right now, not carrying my past thoughts, not carrying my future hopes, but let me just exist in this moment. Because if I don't exist in this moment, I won't even be able to recognize if there is really a present or a real threat right now. I will misidentify it. I will miss it. I might overlook it because I'm looking for the things that happened in my past that trigger me because that's what's familiar. I'm looking for that past hurt, and I will totally overlook and miss what's really happening now. So I believe that, again, just not existing in a state of paranoia. I don't want to carry that stuff with me. Again, I don't want it to fester. I don't want it to be my friend. I don't want it to be present. Why am I carrying it with me? It's not serving me. It's not helping me. It's not stretching me. It's not blessing me. I need to be able to free myself and trust myself enough to be present in this moment and to know that I learned from whatever happened. Let whatever happened be the lesson that I can learn, that I've learned, that I have the tools now to identify what a real threat looks like right now. Is it a threat, or is it just something I'm uncomfortable with? Because sometimes threats start out with that level of discomfort, just like sandpaper. But we have to be cognizant as to where we are, be mindful of where we are emotionally, and just to consider, is this, I always ask myself, is this back then? Is this, do you find those things from the past, whatever happened in my past, and this is a conversation I have with myself, is that present here? I might want to react how I reacted previously out of habit, out of, as Zion's mentioned, trauma response, sometimes before it even happens, because I'm afraid it's going to happen. So I do self-fulfilling prophecy, so to speak, and I make it happen. But I have to talk myself down and be like, that is not present here. This person did not do that now. I am not exposed in the way I was then. I have to learn safety here. This person's holding my hand. They are not pulling me down the street. There's a difference. So I just think being present in the present is what will help navigate whether it's really a threat or whether it's just your past. That's it.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful.
Awesome response.
Jay, you can go ahead.
Okay. I think what has helped me is forgiveness, growing in my wisdom and my discernment, therapy. I learned to not compare anybody new to the past, because in all honesty, anybody that I try to compare to my past, you're going to look amazing. Like, because of how I was treated, you're going to look like top tier. So like the worst thing I could do is, so I take you at face value. And I've learned to just simply trust patterns. So I'm dealing with you. I don't care what society's saying, what panels are saying, whatever. I just look at you and I've learned to trust patterns. I've learned to not gaslight myself and be like, oh no, it wasn't that serious. Oh no, that's what happened. That's what it was. It's in your face, and vice versa. So because, like I said, growing in my wisdom, growing in my gift of discernment, going to therapy, practical support, coping skills, all of that stuff. And like I said, patterns never lie. So that's how I go into it. And not, like I said, not comparing you to anybody else. I'm dealing with you directly.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I'll be watching your true colors shine on through. And if you show me your red, I'm gonna take your red for red. Yep. Go ahead, Glory.
Okay, so mine is two-part. Okay, so I have the threat side where I'm explaining basically extreme magnification. It blurs reality, right? A fear-based wound reacts to care, questions, and closeness. The things that we magnify, any fear, is a subject, object being magnified. It goes back from me. So even love would feel like pressure, support will feel like exposure, concern will feel like criticism, care would feel like control, right? It's not because we're the threat, but the magnification of the thing, right? And this is also, to me, happens when you wear the armor too long.
Oh.
You wear the armor too long, you don't take any parts off, just like everything else, you know, you gotta release. If you wear the armor too long, everything is gonna start to look real jaded. Okay? So that's the first part of my response. I'm gonna back it up real quick. Back it up. All right. So all right. Okay, right here. As a woman, I notice a difference in the response. A real threat shows up in patterns, as someone mentioned: disrespect, control, and neglect. A womb-based fear shows up in defensiveness, withdrawal, and reacting strongly to cares of others or closeness. First John 4:18, there is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. Okay? I try to live what I say sola scriptura, which means I try to live by this. It's not always the greatest thing when other people don't match that energy, right? Because then people are underperforming because I'm holding a standard. My husband is great with sitting with me and understanding where I'm coming from. And that's the good part that I have with him. I didn't have this in other relationships. I don't even have this in other believers and family members. I don't, but he's willing. So we sit together and get these things out, right? The second part about that is John 1 and 9. James 1 and 9, I'm sorry. Let every man be swift to hear and slow to speak, slow to wrath. Fear reacts quickly. Discernment responds wisely. Healing sharpens the difference between the two. Okay, so that's my response, ladies.
Woo. Yeah. Y'all was reading my answers in my diary because listen, I also wrote like a 2-part to my response. My first word said pew. Okay. A real threat feels like your boundaries are being dismissed, patterns repeated even after healthy communication, your intuition tightening, not your trauma flaring up. Disrespect disguised as misunderstanding, inconsistency that keeps you emotionally malnourished. A fear shaped by your past wounds would feel like assuming abandonment before evidence, shutting down because conflict feels dangerous, interpreting normal disagreements as a betrayal, mistaking discomfort for danger, pushing love away before it even have a chance to land. What's the difference though? Well, a real threat drains you. A trauma-triggered fear confuses you. Peace should be the clarity. When I'm healed, I ask, is he hurting me or is he reminding me of someone who did? And that question alone is going to save a lot of y'all, including myself, because that's what saved me. So that was my response to that. Sorry.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that was amazing. I love this. So my response is coming from a trauma therapist who has served and has been privileged to serve survivors of DV. So to me, what we are talking about with this question, my immediate instinct is to say, listen to your instinct.
Listen to what you're being told because of where I'm coming from. So the number one thing is start what you're being told because of where I'm coming from. So the number one thing is start with the experiences. They're going to activate these things in you. They're going to feel these kind of, your body's going to feel these kind of things. It's going to be sudden and intense.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a disproportionate of the present moment. Familiarity. So you're going to feel like, oh, this feeling again. And it's going to be feels unsafe.
Mm-hmm.
This is past experiences. A real threat, that feels like steady. It's clarifying. It is going to be specific. That means a behavior right now, a specific behavior right now. It is very present and it is focused. And there's directional. So it can say, your mind can say, I need to step back, or I need to say no, or I need to leave. Okay. Memory floods. Your threat sharpens. The second thing about this is we need to ask, is this about now or is this about then? So past experiences say this always happens. A real threat is going to say something like this is happening because it's happening in real time. So if your mind jumps timelines, right? Childhood, past partners, old wounds, you are likely in the memory. If your attention stays anchored to observable behaviors like of right now, it may be a threat. Another thing is look for repetition versus reminders. So reminders are something that resembles something that happened in the past. Repetition is something that matches the past. So ask yourself this, is this person repeating the same harmful pattern? Or did one moment light up the old map in my brain? Okay. Your body may react to both, but only one requires immediate protection. Okay. Check what happens when you name it. This one is one of the clearest indicators of all. So when you gently name the discomfort, if it is a past experience, safety often increases with reassurance, clarity, and repair. Know that. If it is a real threat, your discomfort is going to increase. Everything's going to be minimized. Everything's going to be mocked or turned back onto you. So safety grows with your attunement. Safety will grow. Threat, it resists being named. Okay. Observe consistency over intent and not intensity. So observe consistency over intensity. Intensity can come from trauma memory. And threat is going to show up through patterns. It's very important to make this distinction. The intensity is going to come from your trauma memory. Threat is going to be patterns. So for this, you're going to ask yourself, is this behavior consistent over time? Does it change when boundaries are set? Does repair happen? Or does this behavior continue to repeat? Notice your body. Notice your body. Notice what your body wants to do. This is subtle, but it is powerful. Past experiences for folks with trauma, I'm talking about. And I want to highlight this question because there are so many women who stay in relationships where where DV is taking place and they cannot discern. So this question hits very differently for me. So notice what your body wants to do. Past experiences, you're often going to feel the feeling of freeze. It's appease, over explanation, disappearance. Okay. Real threat real threat often brings a clear urge to step away. You're going to want to say a grounded no, or it's going to be a very clear desire to distance yourself without panic. Okay? Important statement coming up. Trauma collapses choices. Threat clarifies it. Trauma collapses choices. Threat clarifies it. There are three things. This is the 3-check method. Very, very practical before acting on anything. These are the three things you want to check: body, behavior, and pattern. Body, you want to check, is this panic or is this steadiness? Behavior, you want to ask, what did they actually do? What did they actually do? Pattern, has this happened before and did it change? So for women, again, who have experienced DV or any kind of abuse, 3 checks: body, behavior, pattern. If all of these line up, trust yourself. Trust yourself. I'm going to say it a third time. Trust yourself. It can end up saving your life. Trust yourself. The hardest truth, which is what I'm going to end with, because this is the kindest one. Women are often taught to doubt their instincts. Okay? We as women are often taught to doubt our instincts because trauma made them very loud. But the goal isn't to silence instinct. It is to differentiate it. Okay? Your nervous system, everybody, your nervous system is not broken. It has been trying to protect you for a very, very long time. So that work is teaching you we are safe enough now to pause, observe, and choose. That is what safety looks like. So this was an extremely important question coming from my side, only because I've seen people over time and time again stay in relationships that they really should have moved out of within months, and they spend years in it. So please let me know in the DM if you need any of that repeated for that question. Thank you, guys.
Whew. Yes, Zion. She was strong. Y'all clock that T? Y'all clocked it? Clock the T. Don't act like y'all don't want to clock the T. But that was great. That was all 5 of the questions. Now, you ladies have done such a great job speaking on these questions, and I love it. So I wanted to give y'all props before we move forward, and also give you the option, because I know we had a couple other questions that we wanted to ask and talk about outside of what we just talked about from Justin's pieces. So I wanted to ask you, do you still want us to go ahead and do those questions, or do you want to move on to reading the piece, the special piece that they don't know they're going to get? What do y'all want to do?
I think we can do the pieces, and I think Denitro, do you want to come up and read yours?
So do the pieces and then save the extra questions for next week?
Yeah,
Okay, got it.
if everybody agrees. That's my vote.
Agreed.
Okay, sounds good. We will do that because, yeah, those. I want the pieces. But before Denitra do, how are y'all feeling? Y'all went through all 5 of the questions. Y'all got it all. It was a lot because I feel my room feels heavy. I'm gonna have to sage when I'm done. But how do y'all feel?
I feel peace. Like I feel like I don't know. I feel like I can breathe.
Your shoulders dropped,
It
didn't
felt,
they?
yeah, it
Yeah.
felt really, really good. It really did. It really felt good because, truth be told, our men that's in the, in this live, they really need to hear how we see things.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just all for edification. It's just all to lift each other up. It is not a competition. We are not here for competition. It is just to lift our brothers and sisters up. That's it.
Yes, and thank y'all for the 150K tap. Y'all did y'all thing. I appreciate every fingers that are hurting, every tappers that are tapping. It is not in vain. I appreciate every one of y'all. But yes, how do you feel, Lady Dawn?
This actually, first of all, I feel amazing because I'm proud of us. Okay,
Me
we gonna,
too.
I ain't gonna play with it. I'm proud of us, y'all. We did the daggone thing. Okay,
We did.
but I'm glad we had a plan. We got a plan.
Yes.
We did wonderful. But it is a beautiful space to be in, honestly. What I love and appreciate the most, there is a freeing. Um, I love that we're able to speak without the heightened emotion. Because a lot of times when we're trying to express ourselves to not just our men, but other people, our emotions are so high that that's how we end up screaming and being frustrated and, in places of rage. And because we fear we're not being heard. So it's beautiful. And I hope that it's an example to others that this type of setting can be replicated, and that this type of talking and communicating is really what's going to marry us back together. So everyone is heard in the safety of a no judgment zone. But again, we're listening to understand and
Yeah.
not to respond. So this is, I definitely feel a woosah in my spirit, in my shando. I feel that in the lower left side of my soul.
Yes. A little heart to heart, like she said, simply said, heart to heart. I love it. It really feels like we're just sitting in a living room having a little girl chat. And I love it. Like the flow is beautiful and everybody's just in sync and aligned. And the message is just, I love it. Good job, ladies. Good job. So I thank you. But I also feel at peace. I feel like we got the message that we wanted to get across. We answered the questions the way that we wanted to. And, I hope that we were heard. And we will know next week, though. We gonna know next week. The pineapples might come then. Until then, I'm gonna sit in this glow. And yeah, you know what, though? Carry on. Go ahead, Jay. How do you feel?
I feel really good. A lot of confirmation in this space of how I'm navigating this journey. Like I'm on track with how I'm navigating this journey. I'm very proud of us. It's a panel full of beautiful Black women of color, and there's expectation when we all come together. And I feel like we just completely demolished that negative stereotype. So nobody can, there's not a single snippet, screenshot, screen record, nothing they could take and be like, oh, they were male. None of that. So I'm very proud of us, our maturity, our ability to express ourselves, still be honest, still be authentic. But just like in our delivery, I'm just very proud of us. No pineapples. We did good.
No pun. Hey, yes. No food. Just me and my right here. Don't worry about it. Glory, how do you feel?
I'm just going to clear it because your Glory Rich is actually my branding for my merch line. I do also artistic posters, so that's it. It's Candace. So I just wanted to declare that since we're all talking, my name is Candace, right? I had a great experience. I was really, really happy to be a part of it, especially where women, different ages, different viewpoints, we were able to express ourselves, and there was no combativeness. There was no over talking. So to me, it's always great when women can come together and we can have that safe space to talk. That's always my desire, especially because some people expect us to always be catty. So when you actually get peace, you get revelation, you get wisdom, you get healing, you get people pouring in, you get, what I'm saying? It's a great place to be for me. So I was excited. Thank you guys for inviting me here. I love the panel. I am going to follow you all, right? And thank you for thinking about me and bringing me into this space, okay? And bringing me into what you guys do. And it was really, truly a delight to hear every single perspective and every person and hear what you guys had to say.
Oh,
Thank
we're
you
happy to
guys.
have you.
Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. And Lady Dawn gonna tell you there's one more. Right,
So,
Lady
yeah.
Dawn?
You need
She's
me to
stuck
tell
with
her?
us now.
You need me to tell her? So, this,
Tell
okay.
her, please.
So Candace, the rule is, it's only one rule. It's one way in and no way out. Okay? So this is what it is.
This is what it is now.
Welcome home. Welcome home,
What?
sis.
Yes. Just sit down. Zion, how do you feel?
I feel like this was a very successful presentation. I honestly do. Because all of us were given a chance to speak our experiences.
Mhm.
And I was given an opportunity to extend an understanding of why these behaviors are happening. And I hope that that has taken up some space
Mhm.
for everybody who's been listening in their minds and in their hearts, because we are not as simple. And by we, I mean us humans, we are not as simple as we imagine. We are thinking, our behaviors are extremely complex. So there's never just, oh, I just do this. There's always a reasoning behind it. So from a clinical perspective, I thank you for, as always, giving me that opportunity to bring that in.
Yay. Thank you, thank you. And Denitra, I know you weren't on the panel, but you can also just tell us real quick, if you want to, how do you feel after hearing the conversation?
Hey y'all. Well, thank y'all for inviting me. After hearing this conversation, I feel like this piece that I wrote shortly after we had our conversation, it'll fit right into it. I think it kind of answered all of the questions that you guys went over. So I'll thank y'all in advance for allowing me to give my poetic, artistic expression on this matter. And I think it's a nice piece to kind of close this out with. If y'all are closing after this, I don't know, but um, so this is called The Armor We Wear and Worn. Whew, the armor we wear. Where shall I start? The armor I and other women wear to prepare us for the war we have against ourselves and the world. The armor that we wear to prepare for the warfare in our minds. The armor that we wear. I just want to be Bear, the same Bear that I was when I was born, but I can't because I was born into a world of sin and I must prepare for this life in this world we're living in. I have to build that armor, which is equal to the strength of my own mentality. Starting from the moment of conception until death, we have to build a suit of armor to protect ourselves. Even from our own mother sometimes, inside the womb, we must protect ourselves from toxicities and genetic unalignments, from being transferred from our own blood, mothers. Developing still, then born into toxicity in the center of the free world, we carry on, still building. Congratulations, it's a girl. Now it's time to build what girls are made of. Sugar, spice, everything nice, right? Wrong. Instead, genetics and generational curses set the foundation for what we have to build our armor from. Layers and layers of it. It starts to build a recipe for disaster. Going into youth, still building our armor while our minds are still moldable, still slowly navigating, often without an outline, example, or visual to reference. Remembering that I wasn't gifted with that silver spoon we heard so many stories about. Learning how to build my confidence so when I fall, I can pull myself back together, back up when no one is around. Trying to heal alone from all the sticks and stones that were thrown by bullies and pretending the words would never hurt, but they did. It hurt so bad, it added on multiple layers to my armor, which sharpened my swords and hardened my shield even more. The armor we build going into our young adulthood, just as young women, building up the confidence just to compete against each other later in life. We are still being shown baby dolls and games where we are all winners, while the boys play sports and train competitively against each other as men, being trained to protect, defend, and fight for their lives, not women and children, not yet. Meanwhile, the young women are trained and conditioned to be girlfriend and wives instead of women and warriors. The armor we built. This is, hold on. This armor now must be protected and placed on reserve in case of war. What war, though? I didn't know at this age. Maybe just protection for now. Protection from ourselves, from the battles in our adulthood, womanhood, motherhood, and attacks on our femininity. By this time, we should have all the armor and shields that we need. But is it enough? Or do we rely on the protection of a man who have been conditioned and trained for the call of active duty? The same men we have to fight and protect our virginity and innocence and peace and mind from. The same men who make decisions for our bodies. The same men who have historically seen us as property. From parents to priests to predators to partners, we are the least protected. How many times have we had to sharpen our swords and train for the battles we continually have to choose between? Have we oiled our suits or armor enough so we are protected by the storms that brew on the inside? Because I'm starting to notice that my tears are starting to form spots of corrosion from the inside out. Have we shined and oiled our helmets? How much of a mask have we shown to deceive our enemies as a form of protection? Have we protected all areas of penetration to our armor like we should? Let's not forget about that chastity belt built to preserve our purity. The only piece of armor that was given to us to protect what men to believe is theirs anyway. That key should remain locked until someone has the key mentality to be able to unlock it. That would take a special man, like the sword and the stone. Instead, it's like the key in the chastity belt. The power of the punani, right? Now, that's a heavy piece of panties nobody wants to wear. Also, the first thing I want to remove from my suit of armor when my kingdom needs some invading. So now, to the armor that I wear as a woman that has been through some things. My armor is made from everything that has made me. As I remove the heaviest layers of the armor I wear, I gain freedom and lightness and can move through life weightlessly. As I come more confident in my own mind and stronger in my relationships with God, no weapon formed against me shall prosper, right? So what do I need the armor for? Everyone is soft on the inside, and I like it here. And I realize that my armor does not have to be heavy or used for malice or bad intention or with revenge. I don't have to wear it to know that it's there. There are so many forms of protection that can serve you. Having a suit of armor that you can never take off is disheartening for any man or woman. A woman wearing a suit of armor is the equivalent of a man being a bag lady. So let's remove it and live a soft, light life. Poem.
My goodness, Vanessa.
Listen, if we
Wow.
wasn't going to end with a poem, we sure was tonight.
I know that's right. So it started
Girl.
off as a poem, and then I'm like, I don't know where I'm going with this, but I'm going to just keep on going. So
I'm so
that's how
glad
it
you
ended
did.
up.
I'm so glad you did. This was a extremely, you said it right. It just fit right in.
Yep. Wrap it on up.
Yep. I was just sitting here like, y'all gonna love this. Y'all gonna love this one.
We did.
Girl, I am boo-hooing.
Oh,
We did.
girl. Yes.
I was just
Wow.
trying to breathe.
Because and it's a familiar thing because we've been saying it all night and we've been listening in the comments here on the panel. We've been all saying the same exact. We've been saying similar things.
Yep.
Everybody's able to resonate with at least something that everybody has said here tonight.
Yes.
Yep.
And I appreciate y'all for letting me be able to speak my piece and have my voice heard. So
Yes, I'm glad you were able to get that out as well. I'm power to you for writing that down, because girl,
yeah.
She said it with a chest, with a whole chest.
her whole chest, like she was just going in there.
I was trying not to cry, but I had to get my strength back.
I heard that, and it's okay. You're in a safe place.
I
We
was
heard
crying.
that
I
in
did
your
enough
voice,
crying
too.
for me and you.
Yep.
Yes.
Guys.
Oof. Zion, you still have your piece to go to, right?
Yes, I do. So before I say anything or start about my piece, if any of you feel or resonate with this, or if any of you like any bit of it, the credit goes to Dee because she has raised the bar. So my piece is titled, If I Hand You My Heart, Handle It Gently. A South Asian woman's response to Please Don't Hurt Me by Justin. You speak of laying down armor, and maybe you don't know this, but men aren't the only one who walk into love already carrying a battlefield. South Asian women aren't raised to call it armor. We call it strength, duty. Bacha, be patient. Bacha is an endearing term in Hindi for kiddos. Bacha, be patient and don't let them see you break. I wasn't trained for war, but I was trained for endurance. And sometimes those are the same things. So before I answer your plea, let me tell you what you're asking of me. Please don't hurt me, you say. You think you're handing me your vulnerability, and you are. But you're also asking me to remember that men who look like this, who are open, have hurt me before. You ask me to trust the softness in your voice when I have known softness to be the first part of a storm. And still, I listen. Not as a therapist assessing risk, not as a daughter raised to minimize their needs, but as a woman trying to believe that gentleness can exist without an expiration date. You say you saw my battles, but you didn't see the ones I fought silently in places no one clapped for survival. My armor wasn't metal. It was self-reliance, sharpened by necessity. You think you unarmored me. Maybe you did. But only because I let you touch what I have guarded with clinical precision and cultural caution for a lifetime. Every piece I set down was a negotiation between my trauma and my longing. My helmet, that was my overthinking. My breastplate, my I'm fine voice, I perfected that as a therapist. My gauntlets, the boundaries I used to compensate for being hurt without warning. My shield, that was my mother's voice saying, protect your heart. The world will not protect it for you. So if you saw me place it on the ground, understand that this is not weakness. This is an act of worship, of trust. So choosing to believe that God might be giving me a gentler chapter after years of learning the hard way. Please don't hurt me, you whisper. And hear me when I answer. I don't step into love recklessly. I step into it wide awake, fully aware of the dangers, just as you said. But unlike you, I wasn't waiting for someone to take off my armor for me. I was waiting for someone who made it safe for me to take it off myself. And you, with your patience, your steady tone, your refusal to fight me back when I fought my fears, you became the doorway. But understand this, my vulnerability is not a gift you earned. It is a responsibility you now hold. So if I hand you my heart, handle it gently. I am powerful, yes, but I am not invincible. I have healed enough to stand in front of you unguarded, but not enough to survive being wounded in the same place twice. If we are to walk this unfamiliar, love-filled terrain together, Then know this: I will not hurt you, but I need you to be as careful with me as you are hopeful with yourself. Please don't hurt me, you ask. And I whisper back, with every ounce of courage I have, then let's promise each other that in this place called here, war is over, and tenderness is the only armor either of us will ever wear again. Thank you, guys.
War is over. Promise me that war is over. What is left to be said now? Nothing. She don't say it all. She don't say it all. Great job, Zion. Great job. I'm gonna hold my pieces for next week. I'll be posting them because I have 3 pieces that I wrote for each of his pieces, and it's only fair post them, you know. We don't have all night to go through these. But those pieces were amazing. I'm breathless. Yeah, I'm breathless here. So great job, y'all. Yes. Yep. Get that tenderizer ready. Why, Moose? What you trying to do to us? But this was amazing. Great conversation. I know we're on overtime, but we already told y'all it was gonna be an overtime, right? So we wrapping up now. Ladies brought their pieces. Next week is gonna be week 3, where men and women get to speak. See, he already came in because I know his finger over there bleeding because he probably written 10,000 responses to us. You shall not be named. I'm just playing. But it was a great conversation, and I do look forward to week 3 when everyone come together and we can have that open discussion and ask the questions openly and get honest feedback on the pieces from each individual that will not be named. Go ahead, Justin. Take your floor back, sir. Thank you for lending it to us.
Yo, first of all, I appreciate y'all having this conversation on this platform. Um, I hope that, like I believe I did, all of the gentlemen listened and internalized the conversation. This conversation removed all of the armor that the other conversations that we see on the internet require.
Yeah.
Um, the clinical aspect of it was beautiful. It was a a perfectly rounded conversation. Um, Denitra's piece should be changed into a play or a movie. She should send that to Tyler Perry so we can get that on screen.
I got
Um,
some more for him. I got a lot.
um, I'm considering even doing this series again in the future. Um, but yeah, I really appreciate everybody that came on and spoke. To me, this is what healing and healthy looks and sounds like. Um, I don't have a response to any of the poems, and I'm not going to write a response to any of the poems. I think those poems stand alone and don't require a response. I'm not battling. I'm not fighting anything. I have questions. Most of them got answered because I started writing the questions in the beginning and they was getting answered throughout the entire um conversation. But it's my plan to ask him anyway because again, just like the fellas was able to have their conversation and juggling can attest to this. The goal was for us not to argue. It's
Yeah.
not there's enough us versus the women on the internet. I detest, I do not want that. Um, and so I appreciate I appreciate everybody. I appreciate the brothers that came on last week and had class. I appreciate the ladies that came on this week and had class, and I'm looking forward for us to continue the conversation next week. Next week, so that everybody involved can hear and see how a conversation about this type of stuff can be healthy. It does not have to be messy. It does not have to be toxic. It can be educational. It can touch the emotional strings that needs to touch. Nobody will have to scream pineapple. It was everything that it was more than what I could have imagined it to be. I'm a Jesus lover, so all of that Jesus stuff was right up my alley. I'm so happy about that. So yeah, it was this has been very, very beautiful, and I appreciate um all of you distinguished ladies on the panel for what you all did tonight. I am going to try and download this entire video and put it on the internet. I don't know how I'm gonna do that because you usually can't, but I think this conversation can combat a whole lot of internet narratives. Um, Zion is my sister. She knows that, and to put that the clinical aspect of it there. One of my goals with my poetry is to promote therapy, and I think that everybody that was listening tonight, you got a taste of what it is to sit with a therapist who also is a human. And so if you questioning it, there are therapists out here who can sit with your humanity and have that conversation. I feel like this conversation was healing. I definitely learned a lot. I learned the benefit, what it is to sit and listen. Just be quiet as a man, shut up and listen. Internalize it, and then, you know, now I have to walk away and think about it all week so that next week we can have this conversation. And there's a lesson in that. That was a part of the whole structure of this, is that we talk and then you take away and process it. You listen and then you take away and process it. And then next week we'll be able to have a co-op conversation. I'm almost thinking we're gonna probably end up needing a week 4 to complete that conversation. But if we do and everybody willing to come back, I'm with it. Um, if not, I'm sure we'll get what we need to get done next week. But I appreciate absolutely everybody. If you are here, you weren't able to be a part of the conversation in its totality, come back next week. We gonna be here 6 p.m. and I believe it's going to be heavy, but I'm letting you know now. If you're looking for drama, won't be none on my end. None of my questions are challenging anything. These women spoke from the heart, and I just want to know how to. Nope, they answered my question. But yeah, I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a beautiful night, and y'all stay blessed.
Thank you. Bye,
Yes,
ladies.
ma'am.
Bye,
Bye
Justin.
bye.
See y'all next week, everyone.
Good night, all.
Good
Good night.
night.